Welcome to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast, your go-to resource for personal development and coaching. I'm your host, Leticia Ringe, and I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm Leticia Ringe, your coach, and today I am sharing a replay from one of the trainings I have delivered this week as part of our Business for Her training series. This training series is for women in business in the coaching and personal development industry, although you can apply it to your business if you fall outside of this industry as well. And I'm teaching what the 5 blocks are that stand in the way of you growing your business and thriving while you grow your business as a woman in business. I'll be using references to businesses in the coaching and personal development industry. However, you can apply your own examples from the industry that you're in as well, because the concepts I'm teaching really just apply to business and the struggle and challenges that women face when it comes to growing and thriving as a woman in business generally. The training that you'll be hearing in this episode today is our second training in the series, and it is all about how to love your business journey. Because one of the problems that women face in business is that unconsciously or consciously, they believe that being somewhere else in their business other than where they are right now is better than where they are right now. This means that when you have failures, when you have challenges, problems, or anything that's difficult in your business, instead of appreciating what that is telling you about how to grow, instead we want to check out of the process. We want to escape the process. But business is a journey full of challenges and problems. So if you want to escape the journey, you're going to hate the journey of being in business, which means that even if you get the results you want, you're going to be resentful of the journey it took to get there. And it certainly won't be a journey where you feel like you're thriving. And most likely you won't create the results you desire, because if we think about it, even just from a manifestation point of view, if we're beating ourselves up, if we're shaming ourselves into growth and transformation, if we're telling ourselves that where we are is wrong, that we're wrong, then we'll constantly be focusing on further evidence and examples and making decisions that confirm this perspective that we have of ourselves. So we really need to clean up our focus and make sure the way that we're approaching our business journey comes from a place of choice. The choice to love the journey, the choice to be present and enjoy the journey, the choice to align with what you think you're going to get by creating the results you want and choosing to embody that state now. This is how you grow, and it's also how you thrive through the journey of growth. This is what today's training is all about that you'll be hearing in this episode. So I'm super excited for you to learn more. And if you'd love to get the replay for our first training, as well as join me live or watch the limited time replays for the 3 trainings I'll be delivering next week, all you need to do is head to leticiaringe.com/business for her. That is FOR, not the number 4. These 5 trainings will help you clearly identify what problems are standing in the way of your business growth, as well as you thriving while you grow your business, so that you can then know exactly what you need to do to solve those problems. I'll leave it here. Enjoy the episode. And if you want more, remember to go and get access to the full 5 trainings so that you can go ahead and start solving this issue for you and your business. I'll see you there. Welcome everybody to Business for Her. This is day 2's training, and today is all about loving your business journey. So Business for Her is all about one thing. It's not your messaging. It's not your strategy. It's not your offer. That's not what growing your business and thriving is about. It is about you focusing on solving the right problems in your business at the right time. And there are 5 key problems that business owners anywhere in any industry and of any gender face. And these are the same 5 problems that stop us as women in business and as women who work in or adjacent to the coaching and personal development industry. So, Business for Her is about how those 5 problems show up for women in business, and also specifically for those of you who work within the coaching and personal development industry, or who are in service to this industry, because we all have a passion for personal development, and the way these problems show up specifically for us have particular nuances. So this is what the training is about, and you may not have a business in coaching or personal development, or you might not sit adjacent to coaching, personal development, or you may not serve people who work in the coaching and personal development industry. That is totally okay, because these problems will also show up for you. It's just that the way that I talk about them will be used with reference to the coaching and personal development industry. So you are so welcome to be here if that's you. And I so look forward to continuing to teach you what these 5 problems are. So Business for Her is set up across 5 trainings. And in each training, I'm addressing one of these 5 problems. When you understand what the problems are, the blocks are to growing as a business owner and to thriving as a woman in business, this is great news, because it means instead of trying to solve the symptom of the deeper issue, you can actually get to what the issue really is, and you can start solving that. Now, what is beneath all of these issues is one thing, and that is your focus. You need to be focused on the right problem in order to solve it. And that is all about the power of your mind. So what you're going to learn throughout all of these 5 trainings is that we're only talking about problems that are within your control. They are not in the hands of anyone else. It's not in the hands of any circumstance, anything that exists outside of you. The solution is within your hands, your power, your control, and it's all about what you're focusing on. So the best way that I can support you, the result that I want for all of you as you leave this 5-day training, is for you to be able to identify what the problems are that you're facing in your business right now. It might be all of them. It might be some of them. It might be one of them. But what I want you to know is that all of these problems may come up for you along your business journey at different times. So it's really important that you know what they are, because when you know what they are, you'll also know how to solve them. So you can grow, and so you can also thrive as you grow, because that's what we're concerned with here. So the focus is within your control. And now through these 5 trainings, you're learning what the 5 problems are that you need to focus your attention on solving. And in today's training, we're going to deal with the second problem in this 5-part series. Okay, so I just want to make mention of how to really make sure you get the value of these trainings as we move forward. I want you to really make sure that you take notes, anything that resonates with you, and anything that also triggers you. If you feel triggered by anything I'm talking about, it's likely that that is something for you to pay special attention to. Now, the way that you'll get the most from these trainings is if you turn what you know you need to do, or what resonates with you, or what triggers you into actionable steps that you can then implement into your day and into your business. I love to do this by turning those steps first and foremost into a question. So the way that I'm supporting you with this is that in these trainings, at the end of every training, I'll always give you some coaching prompts, which are questions, coaching questions for you to answer so that you can implement what you've learned. I also encourage you to come up with your own set of questions as you move through the training so that you can make it as applicable to you and your business and your personal circumstances as you can. So make sure you take notes, make sure you're present, make sure you watch the whole training in full, because this information is so valuable and it will create a situation where you get to grow your business in the way that you want, and you get to thrive as a woman and as a unique human while you do it. So I want to remind you all that the desire that I am supporting my clients with, and that I see women in the coaching and personal development industry who are running businesses wanting, is this: They want to create a business that is financially sustainable, one that allows you to live your life, one that might replace your income from your previous career, and or one that meets your living expenses, right? Whatever that is to you. I mentioned that often the number of $100,000 is used. And I also mentioned that not only do the people that come to me want to have a financially sustainable business, they also want a business that is positioned for further growth beyond that. We don't want to have glass ceilings. We don't want to be capped in any way. And we also aren't necessarily looking at just growing financially for the sake of growing financially, but we want to be able to do that if we want to. And as I mentioned in yesterday's training, I believe that we should be paid even more than $100,000 for the work we do as coaches because of the level of embodiment, standard, and trainings that is required in order to do our job. It is so high. I mentioned my own example of I've invested way more time, way more energy than I did in becoming a lawyer, which, as you probably know, requires a lot of time, money, and energy. So I believe we should be paid really well, and that it is our responsibility as women to really learn how to overcome the obstacles that get in the way of achieving this. Now, not only do my clients want to have a financially sustainable and a financially expansive business, they also want a business that uses their gifts, their skills, that serves people and makes a positive difference in the lives of their clients. They are purpose-driven. And so they want to be continuing to refine and deepen their leadership, their coaching, their teaching capabilities, and that running a business, making money, leading, serving our clients, as well as thriving as a woman, thriving as a human, thriving across the rest of your life is a lot. But this is what we all want. And that is what I have personally dedicated my 8 years in coaching and business to answering. How do we do that? I've been supporting people with this question since day one. I got into business to answer this question for myself. And it's one that I spent literally every single day thinking about, refining, and supporting my community with. So you're in the right place. And I want to remind you that in order to create that desire, it means that we need to know how we thrive in business, in life, as well as within ourselves as a human and as a woman. So these 3 areas that we need to look at, this is what I'm supporting my clients with. How do we thrive in each of these? And that's what you'll be learning and we'll be touching upon through these trainings, but also for sure when you work with me in any of my programs. Thriving in business looks like client results, it looks like financial results, it looks like the way the business runs, it looks like the way you work in business. Thriving life looks like the 7 areas of your life, and you thriving within yourself and as a woman looks like thriving within your body, mind, and soul, which is what makes up you as a human, as well as thriving as a woman. And that's where we look at things like feminine energy, masculine energy, as well as your menstrual cycle or your hormonal cycle, the different phase of life you're in. You might be pregnant, postpartum, perimenopause, menopause, in the menstrual cycling years. You might be in your menstrual cycle years, but you're not experiencing a menstrual cycle. There are so many different things that affect our bodies as women, and it's really important to build a business that works with our body as women as well. And there are also just issues that impact us as women in different ways to other people and also to men. And so that's important to know. And then I also like to look at our whole self. And I see this as 6 different layers to us as humans. I ask the question of myself and my clients, are you thriving creatively, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially? These are really important questions to ask to feel like our whole self is thriving. And this is across life, across business, just within ourselves. It's going to help you tap into and identify what might not be in alignment right now. And that is therefore impacting your experience of business, your experience of life, and your experience of yourself. And ultimately, we want you learning how to juggle all these things in a way that is balanced for you, and then knowing how to keep it in balance as you move forward, which will always look different because what we need will always be changing as humans. And that is one of the magnificent things about being a human. And it's also one of the difficulties. Okay, so I would love you to ask yourself this question. Why does not having these desires that we've just spoken about, the financially sustainable and financially successful, expansive business, the making a positive difference to your clients, and the thriving across your life as well as within yourself, why does not having this matter to you? Like, if you never achieved that, why would that matter? I want you to ask yourself that question because it's important to know what your answer is, because that's the reason why you're taking time to answer this question of yourself and to learn how to overcome and to learn what the 5 problems are and to be at a training such as this. Okay, so some of the reasons why this matters and some of the challenges that you might experience as a result of not fulfilling these desires are as follows. Number 1, you probably don't feel like you're meeting your purpose and potential. And if you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization is like the top one. This is the one that I always wanted to get to from the moment I learned about it when I was 16, still in high school, in year 11, my second last final year. I knew that is what I want. And that's why I started trying to figure out and ask myself then, what is my purpose? Even though I was asking that question, I still ended up in a 10-year career that wasn't aligned with my purpose, but it's because I didn't know what it was then. And I was looking for it in all the wrong places, like outside of myself. So when we get into coaching, we usually get into it because of a very similar journey. We've decided that this is part of our purpose. We want to help and support people, and we feel gifted in offering coaching in some capacity, even though, of course, it's something we continue to refine. And so if we're not experiencing the thriving business we want, the thriving life, the thriving within ourselves, it can feel like that desire is not being met, which is crushing for our spirit. I remember how horrible it felt to feel like I wasn't living up to my purpose and potential. And it's not that we need to keep growing for the sake of growing. It's that we know we're here and we're here to live a particular life. And when we're playing small and when we're hiding, it doesn't feel good. At first, it might feel comfortable, but then you get to a point where it doesn't feel comfortable and it just feels really painful. So you might be experiencing that now. You know you're meant for more, but you're not experiencing that. Okay, number 2, you might be feeling burned out from your business and unable to continue. It doesn't feel like it's sustainable because you feel like either you are working all the time or maybe you're not working all the time, but you're constantly thinking about your business and it's just driving you a little bit up the walls. You really want to feel like you have more of a balance across the rest of your life. And so if you can't figure out how to create what you want, then you're not going to be in it for much longer, are you? So that's why sustainability is always such an important focus of the way that I teach business. Number 3 is you might feel like you're not showing up across your life fully expressed and also supported. And that's a problem because in our line of work, we want to be leading by example, right? And we want to be inspiring. But sometimes when so much of your attention is on the business, it starts taking over your life. The business really needs boundaries. It really needs structure. And that's why in our first training, we spent a lot of time talking about burnout and talking about feeling scattered and talking about how this is actually a result of a lack of focus in your business, a lack of mind management and discipline of the mind in your business, and how this is something you can control. Number 4 is you might also just simply not have energy or not a lot of energy for other parts of your life. I also shared with you how there was a point in my business where I realized I didn't really have a life outside of my business because it was a passion and a hobby, and then it became my work and I was so excited by it, but then I realized my whole life was about it. And so I then had to go on a life makeover to figure out, well, who am I outside of business and outside of coaching and personal development? And that's where I discovered I'm a dancer. I love dancing. I do acting and improv, and I've got all these interests and a whole life outside of business now, which means I'm able to have much better boundaries. I show up, I do what I need to do, and I leave, just like I was going to another job, though this job is one that I care deeply about and I'm also passionate about. So another challenge you might experience is you might even be questioning whether this is the right path for you, whether business is right for you. And the more you keep questioning it, the less time you're actually committed to your business. I don't know if you've ever been on a path in any other area of life that you're not fully committed to. It doesn't feel good because you're not fully in it and present in it, which means you're not getting the full benefit of being on that path. So that becomes a block. And you might also not feel free to live the life you desire now because maybe you don't have the time or the finances to support that. Maybe you're working in a job as well as building your business, or maybe you're a parent and working and building your business like some of my clients, or maybe it's a combination of the two, or you're supporting other people and life is just so full. And so maybe it's that you don't have time freedom, or maybe it's that you don't have financial freedom. And that stops you from living the life you desire, which is hard to feel in alignment because you want to be an example of what's possible, but this time and money is getting in the way. So the great thing to know is it's not really time and money. It's all about focus. And that's what you're learning how to resolve through these trainings. Number 6 is you might also feel like you're unable to enjoy the life you want now. And that's for very similar reasons. If you don't feel that you are able to do the things you want to do, then you're not enjoying them, or you might be doing them but feeling guilty because you feel like you should be working more in your business or doing X, Y, Z. And that is, again, just a lack of focus, a lack of boundaries in the business. And they become so important for us women, especially because most of us really want to be more in our flow, have more freedom, be more in our feminine energy, but it's actually the masculine structures that allow for that, which I explained in our last training as well. And also you might be depending on other people in your life for support. So this is okay. You can depend on other people in your life for support. That could be financial, emotional, mental, whatever it is, but perhaps you don't want to be depending on them in the way that you are, or it's actually getting in the way of your relationship with that person. So something I see so often since I've been working in the relationship space is a lot of women in our industry, they really want a partner, in this case, a man, in these heterosexual relationships. They really want a partner who will provide for them. And this actually gets in the way of them showing up for their business because there's a messaging going on at the moment, which is that if you run a business or if you're an independent woman in business, if you are in your masculine at all, which we all need to be at various times, then you can't attract a masculine man or you can't have your partner provide for you. And all of this is just ridiculous. But this is something that is happening consciously or unconsciously for women right now. And what I've seen is time and time again, as these women connect with their business because they want this man who will lead and provide for them and be in this masculine energy, which is actually usually rarely about energy and more about a gender stereotype. They then disconnect from their business and hold back and don't show up and don't lead the business, or they even get their partner or the people they're dating to give them advice rather than taking that leadership for themselves. And this can happen if you're in a relationship too, right? You might be deferring all of your decision making to your partner because there's a part of you that doesn't trust yourself and your own decisions, or even thinks that you shouldn't be doing that, which is a really interesting place to be in our time in history. You also might not be able to serve people in the way you want and know that you can. So maybe you want more clients, but you can't get more experience working with the clients until you have the clients. That's like needing to get a job to get experience, but then being told you don't have enough experience. It's a very frustrating position to be in, right? You might also feel like you're spending all your time marketing and selling and thinking about marketing and selling rather than actually supporting your clients. You might feel like business isn't stable, it's out of control, it's chaotic, it's not reliable, which might lead you to thinking about things like jobs, which was actually during the pandemic when so many people lost their jobs, business became more of a secure option, which was fascinating because before that, the cultural narrative was that business is really risky, a job is safe and secure. But then during COVID, it it like flipped the script, and now I see that coming back again because of the economy and people's response to the economy right now. Finally, you might not be embodying and leading in the way that you want to because you don't feel like you can, right? Until you've got that business that's thriving, until you've got maybe even the financial or even just more time to devote to that. So these could be some of the challenges you're facing right now. And the great news is that this training is an answer to resolving all of these challenges. So really pay attention to what you're learning here. So let me talk about the problems, the 5 problems. I'm actually going to let you in on what all 5 of the problems are now. I'll just give you a quick summary, and then we're going to talk about the second problem in detail. So as I mentioned yesterday, the first problem is that we feel burned out and scattered in our businesses, and so we're not thriving. And the reason for that is because we are in something I call entrepreneurial immaturity. This is a transition that every business owner goes through. They start off in entrepreneurial immaturity, and then they need to learn how to mature and step into entrepreneurial maturity. That is all about focus. I have a video on this exact topic from many years ago that people love to watch. And the idea is this: if you are throwing spaghetti at the walls, if you don't know what to focus on in your business each day, if you don't know what results you want, if you don't know how to create those results, if you don't know how to make a decision and stick with it, if you don't know how to get feedback and learn from the feedback, if you don't know how to manage your mind and you're not supporting your mind, be a supporter to you, which requires daily work, then what happens is you end up feeling burned out in your business, or you're afraid of being burned out, which is why you're not doing the work, or you're working a lot, but it's not getting you results, or you're feeling scattered. And all of this is what creates you not feeling like you're thriving. So the solution to that is entrepreneurial maturity. And that is all about focus. It's about focusing your mind on 3 things: the results, making decisions and sticking with them. And then you will also learn from the feedback you get from those decisions, which we'll be talking about more later in the process. And then thirdly, and finally, it's managing your mind to stay on the path, to keep on the decision, to keep focused on the results. And that is daily work. And I've suggested that you self-coach, that you work with a coach, that you put yourself in a group of people like a mastermind, like the one I run, so that you have support for your mind being the mind that it is, and you stop trying to pretend or hope that the mind will be any different than what it is. So that's the first problem. Today, we're going to talk about the second problem, which is about not loving your business journey. And you might not realize that you're doing this, but so many of you are. You are ashamed of where you are. You see failures as a problem. You see challenges and struggle as a problem. You see getting that result as being better than where you are now. And so there's a part of you that wants to escape your business journey. But what you don't realize is that this is the journey that is being in business. It's always going to have problems. And what I also find so interesting is that sometimes you will reach certain results, maybe client results, maybe financial results, maybe the way the business is running or your systems, etc., feel really easeful and smooth and they're all working. Maybe you love the way you're working in your business. But then at some point, one or all of these or some of these will stop working. So even if we just look at revenue, most people believe that your revenue will just go up and up and up and up, right? I thought in terms of my emotional experience in personal development, once I felt better and learned I have the freedom to decide the way that I feel, I would just keep feeling better and better and better. But what you learn, like in business, like in life, like in anything really that exists in our universe, it goes through cycles. It goes up and down like the economy. It goes up and down. It goes in cycles. So you might reach 6 figures in your business, and then you might reach multiple 6 figures. You might reach 7 figures, and then you might go back to multiple six figures. You might go to six figures. You might go to nothing. You might pivot your business, and that results in, like I did, your business revenue shifting. I had to start the process again, starting, validating, growing, scaling, right? So it's not up and up and up and up, right? But you do learn, and that compounds and it makes the journey easier. But it will be like this. It's gonna twist and change. And so what this means is challenges you're facing right now, other people will be facing in business too. You might also face them again, even once you solve them. And you might look at someone who's further ahead than you and see them as in a better place, but they might be where you are again at some point in their business journey. And that's normal. And we don't talk about that. So if you see yourself in any way looking at someone and seeing them further ahead than you or behind you, that is showing you that you're not understanding the business journey. And that's something that I really want to educate all of my clients and community about, because I see a lot of this and it's not serving us. Okay, the third problem that we're going to be addressing is when you're experiencing the independent woman paradox. And so I'm going to teach you how to allow yourself to be supported so that you can grow and lead your business in the highest possible way. The fourth problem is you are self-sabotaging your growth. And this is where you need to align your body and your mind with your growth rather than you constantly experiencing resistance and setbacks to keep you within your upper limit. You've probably heard about that. And fifth and finally, it's about focusing on solving the right problems in your business for where you are right now. This is something I've spoken about before. You really need to understand what needs to be solved in your business right now. And that will be connected to the stage your business and your offers are at. There are particular ways you need to help those grow, and it depends on where you're at. But a lot of you are comparing yourself to other people and then trying to implement what you see, but it's not actually suitable for where you are in your business right now. So they are our blocks and problems to achieving what we desire. And today we're going to talk about that second problem, loving your business journey. So as I said, not loving your business journey is a symptom of seeing failure, problems, challenges, struggle, and the need for growth as a problem. It's not a problem. It's part of the journey. So what people think the issue is are your results, your metrics, other people, circumstances, business itself, expectations outside of your control. Or you might even think that if you love the business journey, if you love the challenges and the problems, etc., then you won't be motivated to keep growing and trying to solve them. But the real issue is actually that loving your business journey is a choice. It's a decision. It's a mindset that is within your control and within your journey. And if you focus on loving the journey, what that creates is a result where you actually love the journey. And it means that as you experience the results you desire, you're more likely to actually enjoy them because you loved the journey. Otherwise, if you do what most people do, you're hating on yourself in the journey, you're trying to escape it, you're telling yourself you're doing terribly, that you shouldn't be having these problems, you're shaming yourself, basically, disempowering yourself. That actually leads you to confirming more of these stories that you're not good at what you do, etc., rather than actually leading you towards the result you desire. And so even if you manage to still create the result you desire, if you've been hating the journey, once you create the result, you're going to feel resentful of the journey it took to get there. And likely you're going to want to escape that result and move on to something next. So we don't want that to be your situation. We want you to thrive through the journey. And that is all about loving the journey, which also positions you for more things to love about your journey. And it's also a manifestation technique, right? You want to occupy the frequency, the vibration, the embodiment of what you think you'll have once you get those results. And I can tell you, hating yourself and disempowering yourself and telling yourself you're doing something wrong is not part of that result that you think you're going to have. So this is within our control. Now, I want to tell you some of the symptoms of this, and I'd love for you to share with me, is this something that you resonate with? Is this a problem that you see showing up for you right now in your business? Remember, there's no shame with recognizing that this is a problem. There is empowerment, because once you know it's there, you can get to work solving it. And being able to say, hey, this is a problem that I'm experiencing, it allows you to look at it from a place of neutrality rather than acting from shame, which hides. So, symptoms of hating the business journey or trying to escape from the business journey, which may be showing up subtly or not so subtly. You judge where you are in your business. You compare yourself to where other people are and see their results as better or less than yours. You hide your business struggles and challenges. You struggle asking for help. You don't see yourself as successful. You aren't resilient with setbacks, failures. You despise the journey. You think achieving a certain result will be better than where you are. You hide from talking about your business when things aren't going well. You think other people don't have these problems, especially if they have certain results or are successful. You see failures negative rather than as growth. You struggle to ditch plans once you have the feedback because you are attached to them working out as your self-worth is tied up with their success. So these are some of the symptoms. Do you recognize yourself in any of these honestly? So how does this block our desire of creating this financially sustainable and successful business that supports our clients, makes a positive difference in the world, and allows us to thrive as women and across our life? Well, it leads you to wanting to check out of the process, right? And when you check out of the process, it means that you're not present as well to see and receive the feedback that you're getting from the process so that you can tweak things, so that you can learn, so that you can then pivot in little or big ways in order to have your strategies working more effectively. If you don't love the journey, you also won't stay in the journey, which is how you grow, and it's also how you thrive in business. You also become a horrible boss to yourself. Someone saying like, you're not doing good enough, you need to be doing better the whole time. And when you do create certain results, you want to enjoy them, but you probably are resentful of those results because you don't like the journey, like I spoke about before. And it's just really important to know that shaming yourself into growing never works generally. It's not a basis for lasting transformation because you're basically telling yourself that you're not good enough and where you are isn't good enough. And if you get there, you'll be good enough, but you're not good enough, right? So you still bring yourself and you still believe that you're not good enough. So what we have to do to prevent all of this is we have to step out of our own way. We have to stop doing this to ourselves, and that's all within our control. So another question I have for you here is compare this to experiencing these symptoms and the problem, but having your core desire met. How would you feel? So let's imagine that you're experiencing all of those symptoms that I just talked about, and you've got this problem still where you're trying to escape the business journey and you're not loving the business journey, but you actually have achieved your core desire of having this financially sustainable and expansive business that makes a positive difference, et cetera, allows you to thrive. How would you feel with all of those symptoms we just talked about, where you're telling yourself you're not doing good enough, where you're telling yourself you should be somewhere else, you're not present along the journey, you're trying to escape the journey? How would you actually feel? What do you think your experience would be? I think this is a really interesting question to consider because it's unlikely that you would have those results, all of them. But even if you did, you would probably look at the journey it's taken to get there and be resentful or disappointed. This isn't actually what I thought it would be, and I was horrible to myself throughout the process. So it's good to look at that so you understand why not to do this. Okay, so let's talk about what creates this block. It's really important to know what thoughts and feelings create this way of being in our business so that we can stop doing it. So some of the thoughts I've identified include, I should be doing better than this. Maybe I'm not good enough. It's not fair. It's not working. I should be further along. I shouldn't be having this problem. Let me know any other stories you tell yourself that support this. And then these stories create most likely feelings of shame, feelings of guilt, possibly feelings of disappointment, maybe dissatisfaction, stress, fear, anxiety, other ones that you might also mention too. And this is what leads us to behaving in this way, which ultimately creates a result where we do want to escape the journey, where we don't love the journey, right? Because we're beating ourselves up along the way. And it also doesn't position us for the result we desire. So to solve this, all we need to do is stop hating on the business journey and learn to love it, because that's what being in business is all about. So I want you to love your business journey. And the way that we do that is by shifting your focus so that you step out of your own way and you meet yourself with where you are right now in your business. This is a focus issue again, and it's entirely about what's happening within your mind. So I'm going to give you some steps to take to start solving this. But first, I want you to know what the impact is of solving this. Impact includes you see the day-to-day aspects of growing your business as something you love just as much as coaching, serving, and working with your clients. Wild, right? But we could do that. It's a decision that you make in your mind. You celebrate where you are and where you're going. You learn from your failures. You even celebrate your failures, because that's how you learn. Not like some people who just never take any steps. They never learn, which means they never grow. And that's it. You identify what your challenges and problems are to solve, because you're willing to recognize there are challenges and this isn't a bad thing to admit, which means you can solve them, which enables you to grow. You ask for help and support, which is really important. You focus on solving these problems and challenges. You celebrate and empower yourself. You enjoy your journey. You stop slowing down your growth. You stay in business, and you take the pressure off your business to be your source of happiness, and you find it within your own mind no matter what. How much better would the business journey be if that was your reality? All of this supports your desire because it will support you to stay in business. It'll support you to focus on the right things that need to be solved to move your business forward. And it will have you stop blocking your success, and it will set you up to thrive because you're empowering yourself, celebrating yourself, which gives you more energy rather than taking it all away from you. So here are the 3 steps I want you to take to love your business journey, to start actionably implementing this. Step number 1 is identify where you are right now in your business journey and learn to love it. This is actually the first step in any transformation. I've spoken a lot about this in respect of relationships. I have created a 4-step process for transformation. In the way that I explain it, the first stage is called awareness. And this is where most people skip. They go straight to the next stage, which is clarity. But you need to start with step 1, which is awareness, which is identifying where you are right now and accepting where you are right now. Even better if you can learn to love it and celebrate where you are, but we all have to start with accepting. Otherwise, it becomes a block to our success later on. And it ends up, we tried to move forward, but we haven't accepted where we are. And then that's how you end up in self-sabotage, which is what we'll be talking about in the 4th training. So you want to identify where you are and you want to learn to love it. And secondly, you want to identify what the problems are that you need to solve, and you want to learn to see these as neutral. Maybe it's hard to see these as things that you love, but you at least want to see them as things that are neutral. Oh, this is just the problem we need to solve as business owners. I do personally find that men generally are so much better at this. They're just like, yeah, like this is my income right now. Whereas women will be so ashamed of it and hiding it and not wanting to talk about it, keeping it secret. It hides in shame, right? Whereas men are able to talk about it more because they don't see that as themselves or them doing anything wrong. And they just talk about it like, this is where I'm at and this is what I need to solve. And then they get support from each other as a result. So I wish we could be more like that as women, because it would serve us in business. Thirdly, we have to manage our mind to step out of our own way. So this is where I was talking before. Your mind needs daily support. You need to be self-coaching. You should definitely be working as well with someone who can help you see your blind spots, and also having peers around you who are also growing and seeing the similar things, so that you can make sure you're in an environment that supports your success and is also about loving the business journey. So you want to make sure that you have a framework to support your mind, because it's going to do its thing. It's going to be the mind. It's going to keep trying to put you back into safety, put you back into comfort zone. And part of that is hating the business journey. So actively every day, you need to be cleaning that up and having a look at, what am I focused on in terms of my mind, and what should I be focused on instead? And it's going to take work every day. Sometimes you'll be aware of it, sometimes you won't. And that's something that's worth investing in, because it significantly impacts your business journey, as we've seen from this training. I also want to talk about conditioning that contributes to this problem for us as women. One of the things that I've mentioned, or I've written down to talk to you about, is our culture of complaining. Now, this can be an entire culture of people based on the location you live. And also something that happens in groups with women. Sometimes the way we connect is we complain. And this is because we don't create an environment where we celebrate our successes. And so that is the way many of us relate with other women and other people in our life. And then so it's the way we also relate with ourselves. So we have to really work at learning to celebrate our successes, and even learning just to celebrate where we are, even if we think it's not a success. We've had so much conditioning that if we do that, we won't grow, but it's not true. It actually works the other way. So we're working against that conditioning that's happening and being reinforced in the groups of people around us as well, which is why if you can find yourself in a group with women who are celebrating each other's successes, it's so powerful. And that's one of the reasons why I run my business mastermind. Number two, conditioning that contributes to this is that we also are conditioned to prepare for the worst. If you've got an anxious mind, or you identify with being anxiously attached, you want to prepare for the worst. So a way to manage expectations and stop you feeling a terrible feeling of disappointment, which I'm joking, it's not that bad to be disappointed, you prepare for the worst instead of preparing for or entertaining what could go right. And so it means that we're so familiar with the worst and things not working out that we don't even have a relationship with what could go right. So that's something we have to work against as well in our conditioning. Thirdly, we might be used to putting other people on pedestals. This happens for all of us humans. I don't know whether it happens more or less between gender identities, but I do know that putting people on pedestals is something I see so much in the coaching and personal development industry. Everybody wants a guru, and because a lot of our work is about teaching, we are so used to, as a society, when we grow up through education and university or college, seeing the teacher as someone who is better than us in some way, someone who has all of the answers. And I would say that there's a gender component to this with women, where we are really, really conditioned to be a teacher's pet, to do the process, to do it right, rather than to, you know what, I know a better way of doing this. And really using your own innovation and instincts and intuition to take risks and come up with something even better. Instead, we're conditioned to regurgitate whatever the teacher has told us. And as a result of that, we also learn that teachers are better than us in some way, rather than being equal to us. And part of that we see in other industries, like in yoga classes, in anything where there's a teacher-student relationship, there is the potential of a power imbalance, and it's very real. In trauma-informed yoga, I always remember one of my friends when she did her teacher training. By the way, I also have done a teacher training, but I didn't learn this in mine. In her teacher training, the teacher talked about that when you go into a yoga class, you as the student want the teacher's approval. And so sometimes you'll stretch your body beyond its capacity because you want the approval of the teacher. And when teachers are doing assists and things, it might not work for you, but you want to please them in some way because you think that they know better than you, or there's just this like unconscious need to agree with them. We're conditioned to be agreeable, literally. And this is why in many different industries, especially where there's a physical component, there is more situations where there are like physical and sexual and intimacy related issues, right? Because of this power dynamic. So it really does show up for us as well in our businesses and when it comes to loving the business journey, because we see other people who are teaching, the people that we get coached by, and other people who are further along the business journey, even though it's like cyclical and all over the place, we put them on pedestals. That's what we're doing. So we need to learn to check out of that. And then fourthly, we compare ourselves to the highlight reels of other people. And this is a result of social media. We're seeing people's marketing. They're putting their best foot forward. And you know what? I don't think that there's a problem with that. But we forget that and we see that and then we compare ourselves to that, even though there's a whole other 50% happening that isn't great. That's just what life is like for all of us. It's 50-50. So we need to understand that all of this conditioning also contributes to this problem of not loving the journey itself. And we need to work on our mindset and pay extra attention and support the mind in order to shift that. So hating your business journey or seeing where you are now as a problem or a failure is blocking you from growing and thriving in business. Loving your business journey is not about results, it's about your mindset. So some questions to identify whether this is a problem for you and so that you can start implementing are: 1, where am I right now in my business journey and why is this so amazing and something to be proud of? Number 2, what problems do I need to learn how to solve in my business right now and why is it a great thing that I'm having these problems? Recognize problems are a sign of growth. And 3, what am I doing to support my mind? Now, tomorrow is the next training, and this is all about the independent woman paradox in business and leadership. I'm so excited to dive into this. This is our 3rd problem that we'll be talking about, and I'll be offering you some solutions to that. So there you have it, everyone. That is the 2nd training out of a 5-part training series I'm running called Business for Her. You can get access to the other replays as well as joining live for the remaining trainings and getting access to the replays thereafter if you head to leticiaringe.com/business for her. That is FOR. Make sure you register. You'll then get all of the details and you'll be able to join live as well as get access to those replays and start solving the problems that you need to solve in your business that are what are causing all of these other surface level issues. Most business owners are trying to solve the surface level issues, which are the symptoms I spoke about in this episode, instead of actually getting to the deeper issue. The deeper issue is where your focus is going. And that is about a mindset shift that needs to happen. And the 5 trainings that I've delivered as part of Business for Her are showing you what these 5 shifts look like so that you can shift your focus so that it is aligned for success and for thriving while you grow your business. This is so important, and it's my absolute honor to be able to share this with you all. Make sure you go get access while these are available for you to dive into, and dive into all 5 trainings so that you know what the problems are in case they come up at some point in the future, and of course, in case you're experiencing them right now. Remember, once you know what is standing in your way, you can get to work solving it. This is how we grow our businesses, and it's also how we thrive while doing it. I'll see you there. Thank you for listening to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast, your go-to resource for personal development and coaching. To deepen your learning and practice, make sure you're subscribed to receive our community newsletter. Subscribe at leticiaringe.com/newsletter. And if you haven't yet left a 5-star review for the podcast, we ask that you please do that now so that this podcast can reach other listeners who also want to join us in creating a life that is beautiful.